Yo, what's up guys, it's Rob, and today we're going to be looking at the gwolves Hati S Wireless sample copy. This sample was sent out to me by Vessel Gaming, so huge shout out to them, but it will obviously not affect the review in any way. And also for the record, if you are looking to purchase this mouse, you can follow Vessel Gaming on Twitter. Link to them will be down in the description. They will announce when it is available for purchase, which should be somewhat soon. The mouse is going to be around the $100 to $130 range. There still isn't a price set in stone, it is still to be announced, but I will be updating that on my mouse review sheet. Link to that will be down in the description. I add every single mouse I review to my mouse review sheet, so please go check it out. And I will have gameplay that I got while using this mouse at the end of the video, so definitely stick around for that. So as you all might already know, this is the exact same shape as the original Hati S. It is pretty small and short, but there is a weight difference. So on my scale, the weight of the mouse comes out to 59 grams, which is about 8 grams heavier than the original Hati S. It really isn't all that big of a deal. I honestly don't even notice the difference in weight, but it is of course still pretty light, especially for a wireless mouse. So like I said before, this is the exact same shape as the original Hati S. Like with the original Hati S, I am not able to palm this mouse at all. It is pretty small, and as you can see, my fingers overlap on mouse 1 and mouse 2. Maybe if I were to curl my fingers a bit, but then that would actually just turn into claw because of how small this mouse is. So if your main grip style is palm grip, then I really wouldn't recommend this mouse unless you have extremely small hands. Even then, I don't even think you'd be able to palm it. My main grip style is claw grip, and it is pretty comfortable when using claw grip. The only issue I have with it is that when using the side buttons or the scroll wheel, it can be a little bit comfortable because of the short length of the mouse. So I use my middle finger to scroll up or down, and it just feels really weird because I have to curl my middle finger a good amount in order to scroll comfortably, I guess. But I mean, it really isn't comfortable. If I were to use my pointer finger, then this wouldn't be an issue at all. This feels completely natural, but when using my middle finger, it just doesn't feel natural to me. Also, when using the side buttons, I kind of have like my finger down here when I grip the mouse, and moving it up here, especially when using mouse 5, this back side button here, as you can see, I have to curl my thumb a decent amount as well just to get to it. And even then, if I were to just like roll my thumb up, I have to roll it a decent amount and back as well. It's just not very comfortable when using the side buttons or the scroll wheel, but it does feel comfortable just when gripping it. And again, this is mainly because of how I grip when using claw grip, so others who have similar hand size to mine and also use claw grip might not run into these issues. But I just wanted to inform you guys in what I ran into. And well, I definitely think this shape is probably one of, if not the best, for fingertip grip, because it is so small, and even if you have bigger hands than me, it works really well. It's really comfortable, and honestly, like, there's no issue with using fingertip grip with this mouse, and it's definitely the best grip to use with this mouse. The length of my hand is 17.5 centimeters long, and the width of my hand is 9.5 centimeters wide. So now for the coating of the mouse. The coating of the mouse feels very grippy, and it is grippy enough to the point where I am able to drag click with this mouse without any mouse grips. As you can see, I'm not really the best at drag clicking, but I can very easily do it, and well, the coating just has a very nice grip. And other than mouse 1 or mouse 2, this mouse is pretty much just filled with holes. And I know this can be a big deal for some people, but it wasn't a big deal for me because I don't really mind holes on my mice. But I can completely understand why some people might not like it. The great thing about this mouse is that it comes with some grips that actually feel very grippy and are an amazing way to avoid the holes on the mouse. So if you don't like the holes, then it really shouldn't be a reason to not get this mouse, because you can just put the grips and then you're good to go. Also, at the end of the week, when I'm done using a mouse, I normally have to remove any gamer gunk buildup or anything like that that was built up during the week of me testing the mouse, and I didn't really have to clean this mouse at all. None of the holes or mouse 1 or mouse 2, they didn't really get any gamer gunk buildup, which is good to see. Some coatings do gather up more gamer gunk than others, and well, this is just one that doesn't build up as much. Now, this doesn't mean that it will never build up, but it definitely seems like you'll have to clean this mouse less compared to other mice. And I also keep my hands very clean and wash my hands every single time before even touching any of my mice, so that could also be a really good reason. But I treat every single mouse the same in that aspect, so some still gather up more gamer gunk than others. So overall, the coating felt great, it feels nice in the hand, and it is very grippy. So in the week of me testing this mouse, it only needed to be charged once out of that entire week. So the battery life seems pretty good. Unfortunately, we don't really have a marketed battery life, so we don't really know exactly how long the battery life is supposed to last, but it seems to be pretty good. And well, just like the original Hati S, it does have a micro USB port, which I really don't mind at all. I had no problems with the wireless feature or anything like that. I know some people have been having issues with like the sensor tracking and all that stuff. I didn't run into any issues like that, but just keep in mind that some have run into some issues like that. And I've also seen a lot of complaints about the receiver or the antenna that you have to connect to the computer. It does look pretty bad, but I don't think it's that big of a deal. You can remove this antenna part, I guess, but I really recommend using the antenna because I've heard some people have issues when they just use the receiver, and well, you want to avoid anything that can potentially cause delay or anything like that, so I recommend using the antenna. The main reason I don't really like this is because you need 2 USB ports for this mouse. You have to connect this to the computer, and well, you would also need one for the micro USB cable. That really is my only complaint about this thing. I know some people might not like it a lot just because of its size or whatever, but I know it looks pretty bad, but really isn't much of a big deal for me. So now for the mouse feet. The mouse does come with an extra set of mouse feet, which is always awesome, of course. And these mouse feet glide really, really well. I get a very smooth glide, and the speed of the glide on the mouse feet seem to be slightly above average, which is pretty nice. And I really wouldn't recommend buying aftermarket skates for this mouse because I really don't think it's needed. I didn't get any scratchiness or anything like that when it came to the mouse feet, and they performed really, really well. So now for mouse 1 and mouse 2, I get a very nice and crisp, loud click when pressing down on either mouse 1 or mouse 2. They are extremely satisfying to press, and that is mainly because you get the Kale 8.0 switches on this mouse, which are definitely some of my favorite switches. Super satisfying to click, but I do get some post-travel when pressing down on either mouse 1 or mouse 2. It is pretty minimal, but it really isn't anything I felt when playing in-game. So I really didn't think much of it, but I guess it could cause some slight concern because of the tendency of the quality of gwolves products deteriorating over time. So hopefully that isn't an issue that gets worse over time. I really don't get any side play on either mouse 1 or mouse 2. I do get some, of course, if I use both hands, but that really isn't a big deal. However, when holding down on either mouse 1 or mouse 2, I can get side play like that, and I really only notice this because I play Quake Live and I track a lot, so I'm holding down mouse 1 a lot of the time, and I can feel it when I'm moving the mouse like from side to side to track an enemy, and it doesn't feel all that great. Hopefully this side play doesn't get worse over time, but like I said, it's really only when I'm holding down on mouse 1 or mouse 2. The side buttons kind of feel exactly the same as the original Hati S side buttons. I really don't get any pre or post travel, which is super nice. They don't really feel mushy. I get a nice click when pressing down on them. And well, I really don't have any complaints about the side buttons. They performed well with no issues at all. The scroll wheel feels great when scrolling up or scrolling down. It definitely feels a bit more tactile than the original Hati S. And when scrolling fast like this, it does get a bit louder, but if I scroll slower, it does sound pretty quiet. Still isn't too loud though, even when I'm scrolling fast. Pressing down on middle mouse button seems to require average force to actuate compared to other scroll wheels. And when pressing down on middle mouse button, I never accidentally scrolled up or down. And also, when scrolling up or down, I never accidentally press down on middle mouse button. Overall, a very solid scroll wheel that feels great and is very tactile. Also didn't run into any issues with this, and it just feels great. So now for the downside of this mouse, the build quality. So the mouse does feel very solid in hand. I really don't get any flex anywhere when I stress test the mouse. It feels extremely solid, and it's pretty surprising how solid it feels for being a small, lightweight mouse with a ton of holes on it. But my main concern is with the sounds I hear when stress testing the mouse. So, as you probably heard, the creaking is really bad on this mouse. And that really worries me because it could potentially affect the longevity of the mouse. And well, the mouse does feel very solid now, but who knows how long that will really last. Because even when I'm just gripping the mouse and I tense up a little bit, you can hear some creaking. And this is the updated shell. There were some sample copies that were sent out with the old shell, and this is the updated shell, and I really shouldn't be having any issues like this. And like I said before, the build quality of gwolves products seems to deteriorate over time. And well, that really is my only main concern with this mouse. So would I end up recommending this mouse? No, not yet, at least. I really did struggle to find anything wrong with this mouse, and I really enjoyed it and aimed really well with it. But all that crazy creaking I get when stress testing the mouse, even when I'm just gripping it, really isn't a good sign, and it really concerns me for the lifespan of this mouse. The build quality may feel solid now, but who knows what it'll feel like in 3 months or maybe a year from now. For a mouse that's going to be over $100, you really shouldn't be getting any type of creaking like this. The build quality should be on the higher end. Other than the build quality, this mouse really is amazing and it can be a top mouse. It has a ton of potential, but I definitely recommend holding off on buying this mouse. Maybe wait for the next batch that comes out that maybe fixes this quality control issue, or just wait to see what other copies look like when more people get their hands on this mouse. I wouldn't recommend buying it yet, but it can definitely be a top mouse, but that is only if the build quality or the quality control gets better. Once that's improved, I definitely recommend picking this mouse up because it can certainly be a top wireless mouse. Thank you all so much for watching the video. I really appreciate it. I will now be playing the gameplay that I got with this mouse, so stick around for that and I'll see you guys later. Bye.
I thought I'd be privy to that. Alright. Well, I'm gonna pig.
Oh, they took.
Blows my shit up whenever he gets kicked or banned.
He owes me a donation.